Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something that comes up a lot, meditation. And, maybe you hear meditation and picture, I don't know, someone sitting silently on a mountaintop for hours. Feels pretty removed from daily life, right?
Absolutely. That stereotype is definitely out there.
But we've been looking at some really solid research, more science-backed stuff that paints a different picture.
A much more down-to-earth picture, yeah.
So our mission today is to pull out 7 key benefits that keep coming up in these sources, especially if you're someone thinking, look, I'm way too busy for this, or maybe you've tried it and felt like, it didn't do much for me.
Right. Those are really common barriers.
We want to explore why starting this, even just a little bit, could actually make a difference for your mind, your body, just how you handle things.
Exactly. It's less about achieving some mystical state and more about, well, practical advantages for dealing with everyday life. The data is surprisingly concrete.
Okay, let's dig in that. Benefit number 1 seems like a huge one for basically everyone. Stress reduction.
The big one?
Yeah. The sources we read use this great analogy. Stress is like this app running constantly in the background on your phone.
Draining your battery even if you don't notice it all the time.
Exactly. That constant low-level hum of worry, or maybe that tightness in your shoulder.
Trouble sleeping, yeah.
Right. And the sources are clear that chronic stress, it really takes a toll. Burnout, anxiety, even getting sick more often.
It adds up. So meditation comes in as a kind of reset button.
A reset button, I like that. How does it work, though, physically?
Well, physiologically, when you meditate, your body tends to lower its production of cortisol.
That's the main stress hormone, right?
That's the one. And at the same time, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay, breaking that down.
That's your body's rest and digest mode. It's the counterbalance to the fight or flight response we get when stressed. So things naturally calm down, mind settles, heart rate slows.
Right. And I thought this was key. The sources framed it less about just feeling calm during meditation and more about training yourself long-term. So you learn to, respond to things, arguments, deadlines, that huge to-do list, instead of just automatically reacting.
Exactly. You create a little bit of space between the stressful event and your reaction to it.
You get to choose how you engage, rather than just being swept away by the stress.
Precisely. And that ability to choose, that pause, it builds resilience over time. It's not magic, it's training.
And based on neuroscience, not just, nice ideas.
Right. Grounded in how our bodies actually work.
Okay. Let's move to another common struggle.
Sleep.
Or lack of it.
So many people deal with this.
Yeah. Lying awake, thoughts just racing, can't switch off. It's awful. The sources position meditation as a sort of natural sleep aid.
They do. The idea is that by focusing usually on your breath and consciously letting go of those looping thoughts, you're essentially, you're teaching your mind how to wind down.
Like a bedtime routine, but for your brain.
Kinda, yeah. And there's actual research showing that mindfulness practices can help people fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer.
That's music to my ears. They specifically mentioned something called body scan meditation. What's that about?
Right, the body scan. It's a technique where you systematically bring your attention to different parts of your body, maybe starting at your toes and slowly moving up.
Just noticing sensations.
Exactly, not trying to change anything, just noticing. Maybe noticing tension you didn't even realize was there and gently letting it go as you focus on it.
Okay. So it's doing 2 things at once.
Pretty much. It quiets that mental chatter and helps release physical tension, both of which obviously get in the way of sleep.
Makes sense, tackling it from both angles. And good sleep is just fundamental, isn't it? For healing, brain function, energy.
Absolutely critical. And if meditation can support that vital process, it's a huge benefit. Consistent, quality sleep impacts everything else.
Okay, benefit number 3. Improved focus and mental clarity. In this age of constant pings and notifications, this feels crucial.
Definitely. Our attention spans are under siege.
Totally. The sources use this phrase, I liked meditation, as resistance training for the mind.
That's a great way to think about it, because the core practice, usually bringing your focus back to your breath whenever it wanders.
Which it does, a lot.
Constantly, and that's okay. But every time you gently bring it back, you're strengthening that focus muscle. It's like doing a rep at the gym.
Okay. So over time, that repetition builds strength.
Yes. The sources suggest this leads to sharper concentration in general, being less easily distracted, maybe even remembering things better.
And there's actual brain science behind this too, isn't there? Something about the prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, some studies indicate regular meditation might increase the thickness or density in the prefrontal cortex.
And that's the brain CEO, basically. Decision-making, attention.
Exactly, higher level functions. So there seems to be a structural change underpinning the improved focus people report.
Wow. So it's not just a feeling, it's tangible changes.
Potentially, yeah.
And thinking about daily life, this could mean, what, being more present in a meeting?
Or actually concentrating on writing that report.
Or just having a conversation without mentally drifting off every 2 minutes.
All of those. And the good news is, you don't need to meditate for hours. The sources consistently emphasize that even short, regular sessions, say 10 minutes a day, can start to make a difference.
Consistency over duration.
That seems to be key, especially when you're starting out.
All right, let's shift gears slightly to emotions. Our sources really highlighted how much feelings drive our choices, sometimes without us even realizing it.
Yeah.
How does meditation fit in here?
Well, it helps you develop self-awareness around your emotions. So instead of being immediately consumed by, say, anger or anxiety.
You learn to notice it first.
Exactly. You notice the feeling arising, you acknowledge it, maybe even name it, there's frustration, without judging yourself for having it.
Okay.
And that simple act of noticing creates a crucial pause, a space between the feeling and your typical, maybe automatic reaction.
Like yelling or shutting down or reaching for comfort food.
Whatever your pattern might be. Meditation helps you see the pattern, and that pause gives you the chance to choose a different response, a more intentional one.
So it's about gaining control, not by suppressing emotions, but by understanding them better.
Precisely. And this leads to what the sources call greater emotional resilience.
Which means?
Bouncing back quicker from difficult situations, being less easily triggered, and often developing more compassion, both for your own struggles and for others.
I like how one source put it, like building a relationship with your own inner world.
That's a lovely way to phrase it. Understanding yourself better inevitably helps you navigate the external world more effectively.
Moving from being driven by emotions to having a more skillful relationship with them.
That's the goal, yes.
Okay, now, for a benefit that might surprise some people. Physical health. We tend to separate mind and body, but the sources drew a strong link.
They really did. And it comes back to stress, largely. We know chronic stress triggers physical responses.
Right, like high blood pressure.
Inflammation, weakened immune function, a whole cascade of effects.
So if meditation reduces the stress,
then logically, it can positively impact those physical processes. The sources mention potential benefits like lower blood pressure, maybe a stronger immune system, even better digestion or hormonal balance.
that's pretty wide-ranging. I was also really intrigued by the mention of pain management.
Yes, mindfulness-based pain management. This is a fascinating area.
It sounded like, in some cases, it was even more effective than opioids, which is huge.
It can be, yes. But it's important to understand how it works. Meditation doesn't necessarily make the physical sensation of pain disappear entirely.
Okay, so what does it do?
It helps change your relationship with the pain. By observing the physical sensations without judgment, without that layer of emotional reactivity and suffering the, oh no, this is terrible, I can't stand it story.
You learn to experience the sensation more directly, without the extra mental anguish.
Exactly. You reduce the suffering associated with the pain, even if the raw sensation is still there. It's about observing it as just a sensation, not a catastrophe.
That's really powerful. Shifting the experience itself, it really hammers home that mind-body connection.
It does. Inner calm can genuinely translate to physical well-being. It's holistic.
Okay, next up is something the sources called subtle but powerful. Increased self-discipline and patience. How does sitting quietly build discipline?
Well, think about the actual practice. You decide to sit, your mind wanders off, which is its nature.
Constantly.
Right, and then you notice it's wandered and you make the conscious choice to gently bring it back to your breath or whatever your focus point is.
Okay.
That act, repeated over and over, noticing distraction, choosing to return, is an exercise in self-discipline. You're training yourself not to follow every single thought, not to react to every impulse immediately.
I see. So each time you bring your focus back, it's like strengthening that willpower muscle.
Exactly. And it cultivates patience, too. Patience with your wandering mind, patience with the process. You learn that you don't have to chase every thought or be ruled by every emotion.
So that translates outwards, making it easier to, say, resist a craving, or stay calm when someone cuts you off in traffic.
That's the idea. It builds that inner capacity to pause and choose rather than just react impulsively. It helps you stick to your intentions, whether that's a health goal or just responding more calmly in relationships.
The mental gym analogy again, building those muscles of discipline and patience.
It's a very fitting analogy. You're actively training these qualities.
Okay, finally, benefit number 7 feels a bit deeper. A greater sense of connection. Connection to what?
To yourself primarily, but also often to the world around you, to other people.
How does that unfold?
As you become more present through the practice, many people report just noticing more, experiencing increased gratitude for small things.
Like what?
Like the taste of your coffee, the feeling of sun on your skin, maybe just appreciating a moment of quiet or a kind interaction, things we usually rush past.
So developing more appreciation for the everyday.
Yes, and often more compassion, too, a sense of shared humanity. It's partly about shifting from that constant doing mode, achieving, planning, worrying, to simply being present more often.
Letting go of the striving for a moment and just experiencing.
Exactly. And in that presence, there's often a natural sense of connection, a feeling that peace isn't something you have to achieve out there, but something that's accessible right here in this moment.
That sounds quite profound, actually.
Yeah.
The ultimate gift, maybe.
Many people find it to be, yes. Finding peace in the present.
Wow. Okay, so just to quickly recap those 7, we've got stress reduction, better sleep, improved focus and clarity, enhanced emotional health and self-awareness, physical health benefits, more self-discipline and patience, and finally, this deeper sense of connection and gratitude.
That covers the main themes from the sources, yeah.
And the big takeaway seems to be it's accessible. You don't need to overhaul your life.
Not at all. The sources consistently suggest starting small, even 5 minutes a day. Just sit, breathe, be still. That can be the starting point.
Start where you are, build the habit.
Exactly. Be patient with yourself. It's a practice, not a performance. The changes are usually gradual, but they can be really significant over time.
So maybe for everyone listening, just think for a second. Which of those benefits really calls to you right now? Is it the stress, the sleep, the focus? And just consider, what if dedicating even a few minutes each day to cultivating a bit of stillness could start to make a difference there? It's really an invitation, isn't it?
It is, an invitation to explore what a little inner quiet might bring.
So maybe as you go about your day-to-day, just notice one moment. Maybe when stress spikes or your mind feels scattered. Could that be a moment to just pause, take a breath, and experiment with that stillness, even for 60 seconds? What might change if you did? Something to think about.